Good evening, baseball fans. How you doing? How you doing? We have Game 3 of the World Series. Bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, 2 strikes. And how you doing, everyone? Good evening, good evening, good evening. Here we go. Tommy Pham up at the plate. Leclerc on the mound, and Pham swings and misses, and the Rangers have won Game 3. They take a 2-1 series lead. Man, oh man. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the postgame. I mean, I was kind of hoping for some kind of a comeback here. It felt like maybe the Diamondbacks could get something going. They always make it tough in the end. Jim is here. Jim, hello, my friend. Hello, hello. We were both hoping for a comeback tonight. So, no juice really in this one. There's definitely a couple of stories to discuss in this one. So, in the end, though, the Rangers, what a performance for them tonight. I mean, this was amazing. I mean, the bullpen just stepped up. I mean, this is arguably the best performance for the bullpen all year for the Texas Rangers. Remember coming into the postseason, and everyone was worried about this Rangers bullpen, even though September they were better. I don't know if many people noticed that, because the Rangers bullpen was that bad at times. But man, they really stepped up here tonight. John Gray, amazing. Spores, amazing. He was nasty tonight. Man, Leclerc, he hit a couple of bumps there in the ALCS, but looking great here. Man, just saying. Looks like, Leclerc really does well when he gets some rest. We saw in the ALCS where when he was getting used, you could see that fatigue catching up with him. But, the days off really seemed to help Leclerc. Remember, they had the days off in the ALCS, and it just really helped when he came back. So, overall, great performance of the bullpen tonight. I mean, what else is there to say? I mean, we're going to get into it here. Everyone, if you can, hit the like button for me. I'm not going to be here too long tonight. I'm not expecting a big turnout tonight. I just want to try and stay consistent with these post-game recaps. So let's just get to it here. But if you can, like the show for us. It really does help with the algorithm. As much as I always hate saying hit that like button, it really does help. I don't make the rules. YouTube makes the rules. If you are new, subscribe down below. Hit the bell notification as well. Share the show. And everyone, we are sponsored here tonight by Underdog Fantasy. I am going to go over some picks for Game 4 for tomorrow night. And tomorrow night is Halloween. So happy early Halloween, everyone. We're about an hour away from Halloween. All right, everyone, let's get to it here. Seeing a lot of familiar faces here in the chat. Jim, welcome as always, my friend. How you doing? Derpy Entertainment, how you doing? Analytical Side of Sports, how you doing? Aaron, how's it going, my friend? Dave McKenna, hello. All right, everyone, let's get to it here. I'm going to keep this short and sweet for tonight. And, hey, once again, nice game here for the Texas Rangers. And here we go, sharing the screen. My little button things aren't working, so whenever I try to change the screen for tonight, I got to go use the old-fashioned way of using my mouse. My buttons aren't working here. But here we are. And listen, I mean, to me, the player of the game tonight is John Gray. Him stepping up after Max Scherzer going down with a back injury. You feel so, I almost feel so bad for Max Scherzer. It's like, this guy, honestly, I honestly think Max Scherzer, is it just better for him to just take off until after the trade deadline, just start his season in August? Because, I mean, at this point, this guy, he just breaks down in the postseason. I don't know what else to say. He was looking pretty decent there. A couple of little hits off of him there. But he definitely got helped out a lot. But it looked like, hey, you know what? We're on our way to maybe 5 innings of Max Scherzer, going scoreless ball. And in the end, leaves with some lower back discomfort. Trust me, I know a thing or two about lower back pain, discomfort, all of it. I've had many times where my grandpa self has just had quite some issues with my back. So I definitely understand how that feels. Now, I will say this. It seemed like it was more of a precautionary thing. I do think Scherzer, get some treatment over the next few days. I do think he'll be okay. If it does end up going to a game 7, if it ends up going to that point, which I honestly think it will get to that point. The way this series is going right now, it's back and forth. I just honestly see it going 7. I do expect Scherzer to be ready for 7, even if that means you go again, 3 innings, kind of like what he did in the ALCS game 7. I could see something similar to that. But the good sign for Scherzer is he did look better tonight. Was able to kind of navigate his way through the lineup a bit easier here compared to what he was doing against the Astros in those couple of games. So that is a good sign. Just get the back rested up, get some treatment done, work on those glutes a little bit, get those hip flexors nice and loose, and I think he'll be good to go for Game 7 if it does get to that point. But my player of the game is Jon Gray, picking up the win here. Jon Gray, only his 3rd appearance here in the postseason so far, and his 2nd appearance so far in this series, but he really made it count. I mean, this is a guy where, not the most amazing numbers in the regular season, but remember, this was a guy that got a decent-sized contract not too long ago, and he's making it count here tonight. And to me, what matters, it's not just the numbers, it's not just the 3 scoreless innings, it's halting that momentum, right? And, a lot of things can change when you have someone like Max Scherzer leave the game. It just sometimes momentum can come into play, and I think Jon Gray just did an amazing job just keeping things in check, keeping everything calm. He just held it down, and that's what you got to do here on the big stage. You got to have a stopper in the postseason. You need stoppers, and Jon Gray was that guy tonight, and because of that, he was my MVP for this game. Sure, Corey Seager with the big shot there. I mean, that was pretty much the offense tonight. We had the 1 run from the Diamondbacks there in the 8th. They tried to get it going. I'll talk about Aroldis Chapman here in a little bit. But Corey Seager, I mean, my goodness, Corey Seager right now is having, quite the postseason. And actually, let me pull up some numbers because I did tweet out something about Corey Seager a little earlier tonight. Let me actually go to that tweet because I cannot remember the numbers by heart, but they were pretty good. So here we go. Taking a look at some of these numbers here. Sharing the screen yet again. So Corey Seager from 2015 to 2019. Now, these numbers were at the time when I posted it at right around 9 o'clock on the East Coast. But from 2015 to 2019, in the postseason, he only hit 195 with a 257 on base and a 302 slugging. Had a few homers in there, 10 RBIs as well during his time with the Dodgers. But 2020, this man woke up in the postseason, and since 2020 in the postseason, he's hitting 275 with a 382 on base, a 581 slugging, 15 home runs since then. Are you freaking kidding me? 36 RBIs. I mean, Corey Seager, this guy's just turned into a machine in the postseason. Remember the early years with the Dodgers? He couldn't really get it going in the postseason, but he has just been a monster, especially in this postseason. You got to love what Corey Seager's doing, but in the end, what have I said before about Corey Seager? He is a game-changing bat. Honestly, if it weren't for Shohei Ohtani and the couple of injuries Corey Seager had this year, he probably would be the MVP. And honestly, I could see an argument for Corey Seager getting some MVP votes. It should be Shohei Ohtani. I'm not saying Corey Seager should be the MVP, but I can definitely see him getting some votes because in the time he had this year, with the injuries, missing, what was it like? He missed like 30 games or so. I can't remember the exact number of games he played, but he definitely missed a chunk. And he put up some amazing numbers this year. And, I'm not surprised to see him doing what he is doing here. But overall, for me, the star of the show was Jon Gray. The bullpen, the rest of the bullpen as well, was just great. Spores, he looked absolutely nasty here tonight. I mean, look at the spin rates here on the curveball. He threw 16 pitches overall, 9 curves. Look at the spin on the curveball tonight. You just saw the way the ball was coming out of his hand tonight, and it just looked fantastic. You just knew there was something good going on with Spores. In the end, an inning overall, 2 strikeouts for him tonight. Fastball, threw a few of those as well. But Spores, again, just helping lock it down in the end. And then Aroldis Chapman. I even tweeted a little something else about Aroldis Chapman. I posted that Vince Carter meme, I got one more in me, when talking about Aroldis Chapman giving us heart attacks in the postseason. Aroldis Chapman, he just loves to make it fun out there. But honestly, give him a lot of credit. Yeah, sure, it was the lefty-lefty matchup, so give Bochy some credit there as well, for going for that matchup, but that definitely could have gone the other way as well. But up against Carroll, getting a huge strikeout, really fooled him with the slider there. I was very, very scared. Overall, that was actually only one of 2 sliders that he threw. It was mostly fastballs. So, they did get the run off of him. Perdomo with the base hit there, but, man, give a lot of credit to Chapman and Leclerc. He's just looked fantastic pretty much this entire postseason, minus a couple of hiccups. So, in the end, great game for the bullpen. But I actually want to go all the way back to earlier on in the game. And unfortunately, Christian Walker, who got the standing ovation, people were really rooting for this guy. Myself, Ballcap Sports, Jim, if you are still here, we talked about Christian Walker coming into this series, saying, listen, Christian Walker, he's got to step up here in this series, and he did right there. The double, I thought actually he might have gotten into one and might have given the Diamondbacks an early run. I thought it was a homer off the bat, and it's just so deep out there in center field. But, Christian Walker, though. Christian Walker, I think I'm not saying he let the moment get to him. Christian Walker is one of these hard-nosed dudes. He's just going to go all out. Then Tommy Pham had the base hit there. He rounded third. Now, I will give a little, what's the word I'm looking for? I'll give a little, I'll cut some slack for Christian Walker. As he was rounding third, right, the third base coach at first was giving him the go-ahead, right? He was sending him home, but he put the stop sign up. It was a bit of a late stop sign, but Christian Walker, at the end of the day, if you're the base runner, you got to look up, right? I'm not saying I'm an expert by any means, but you do got to check, right? You got to make sure, and he did run through the stop sign in the end, especially with Adolis Garcia. But I think that's also, something with the third base coach. I know you're kind of looking at your eye, you're using your eyes as the third base coach right there. But with Adolis Garcia out in right field, I think that's something you should have talked. I'm sure they did talk about it pregame. They do know this about Adolis Garcia with his arm, right? Adolis Garcia this year has been one of the best right fielders when it comes to throwing or saving runs with his arm, right? Throwing out base runners, whether it's, at home or, second or third or whatever. Adolis Garcia is actually tied for first when it comes to preventing runs with his arm. Tied for first with Fernando Tatis Jr. Saved 7 runs this year with his arm. That to me, I just think, the Diamondbacks, I've been hearing a lot of people, a lot of the analysts, the experts, whatever you want to call them, talking about the communication with the Diamondbacks, but I do think there was a bit of a miscommunication with this one. I think, sure, you got to kind of read it as it's happening, obviously. There's a lot going on in that moment, but you have to remember it is Adolis Garcia out there, right? But Christian Walker, at the end of the day, he's got to use his eyes too. He's got to look up, and he's got to look at what's going on there. So in the end, I do believe in momentum, and I think that really kind of took the air out of people there. But what I do appreciate about the Diamondbacks fans is that they really kept it going, right? They didn't just go quiet after that, but it did just feel like there was some air taken out, right? Because when these moments happen, you always are, afraid, oh no, now the other team's going to take advantage. And that's exactly what the Rangers did, getting the big shot from Corey Seager. Marcus Semien, nice to see him getting involved, getting the RBI there to get things going. But then Corey Seager right after him. This is what these guys are. This is why they were brought here, right? These guys getting massive contracts. Semien has had a poor postseason, but here he is stepping up where it matters, getting the Rangers on the board, and then Seager just following him. Massive home run, 3-0. It was pretty much game at that point. But let's talk about Adolis Garcia there, where with Adolis Garcia, a little later in the game, took a swing, popped it up, immediately grabbed the oblique. As soon as he grabbed his side, I'm like, oh no, he just strained an oblique. I'm very worried about Adolis Garcia. You don't, this is the worst time to have a strained oblique, because that's something that can put you out, we've seen guys with strained obliques, they end up missing like a month. I think it's very possible you could see Adolis Garcia out. I mean, I don't know. I feel terrible about this because it's like this is not a guy that you want to lose right now with the type of postseason that he's been having. I think the Rangers could end up being fine, but you're losing just such a massive bat in that lineup, with what he's been doing, a 1.108 OPS on the year. So if he does end up missing the rest of the series, this is where a guy like Evan Carter, who went 2 for 3 tonight, Semien, like I just mentioned, having a bad postseason, but came through tonight. Garver 0 for 4. I thought Garver had gotten into one at one point. Heim and Garver, a combined 0 for 8 tonight. Low, Young. How about the defense of Josh Young? That guy is fantastic. Josh Young is amazing. These guys at the bottom of the order are really going to have to step up for Garcia. So, because I am really afraid he is very in danger of missing the rest of the series. Hopefully it's nothing, but I don't know, man. I don't feel very confident about it. We got a super chat coming in. Sean McNally, how you doing, my friend? $4.99. Here we go. Cashier asked if I would donate $5 to charity, and I told her to back off. Robbie deserves this $5. Love your streams. Go Rangers. I'm very appreciative of this. Very appreciative. Those cashiers, man, always just trying to take your money. Funny, I used to be a cashier at a grocery store doing my my younger lad days. My goodness, I hated being a cashier. Funny story, actually. When I was a cashier, because most of the time, at least where I was, at the grocery store, I worked at Publix at one point. If anyone's familiar with being down south, Publix is like the grocery store, right? So I was a cashier in my younger days, and there was only like one other guy cashier at the time, and everyone else were women. And so we had like a contest to try and raise the most money. All right, for I believe it was Special Olympics, and whoever raised the most money on like a Saturday or something like that, you end up getting like a prize. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna win this. I ended up wrecking everyone that day. And you know what my prize was? An assortment of women's lotions. I mean, my skin felt very nice after that, but getting a bunch of Victoria's Secret lotion was not my proudest moment. Some of it smelled pretty good, though. Anyway, thank you for the super chat, Sean McNally. Thank you. Appreciate that, my friend. But back to it here. They're going to absolutely need guys like Semien to really step up here. And hopefully this is a good sign for Semien. Hopefully this is a good sign. Carter, Heim, they got to get this going here. Heim, he really needs to get it going. Now that you're seeing Semien maybe heating up a little bit, now the eyes are kind of going towards Heim at the bottom of the order. Low as well. Low only hitting 203 in this postseason. So, could they, if Garcia does end up, being out for the rest of this series, which I hope he's not. I'm not sure if there's been any announcement on it. Who do you put in that third spot? I would imagine could be Carter there. Maybe you put Young in that spot, possibly. Could you go with Garver? But maybe a shakeup of this lineup could actually help these guys at the bottom of the order. Maybe some new spots can kind of get them going a little bit. So we'll have to wait and see on that. Let's talk about Brandon Pfaadt here. Coming into tonight, I loved this matchup, right? Top pitching prospect back in 2008, Max Scherzer for the Diamondbacks. Top pitching prospect this year for the Diamondbacks and Brandon Pfaadt. Scherzer coming back to Arizona where it all started. I just loved the storyline behind this pitching matchup. It was so fun to me. But Pfaadt, hey, give this guy credit, man. Unfortunately, the offense just couldn't really come through for him tonight. But give him a lot of credit overall. Ended up throwing a really decent game, in my opinion. He went into the 6th inning. And it was a cool little moment as well. Torey Lovello, he was talking to Brandon Pfaadt after coming out after 5 1/3. It was a nice little moment there in the dugout. I'm glad the camera got it because that's a cool moment. Brandon Pfaadt is doing things that not really many people will ever do, right? Obviously, you're in the World Series. I mean, you can pick out so many rookie pitchers, or not so many, but so little rookie pitchers that have pitched in a World Series. And, the fact that Pfaadt is on a big stage like this, and he did everything he could tonight. Give him a lot of credit here. To me, a great performance, but unfortunately, the bullpen for the Rangers was just better tonight. And Pfaadt, I'm telling you, every time I see this guy pitch, it just seems like he's getting better and better and better. So if it does end up being Scherzer and Pfaadt again in a Game 7, I think that could be pretty cool. We'll have to see how this goes, but I think Pfaadt is just dying for another chance at this thing because he did look good tonight. And the offense, they just got to pick it up. So getting to Game 4, right? Game 3, it's looked at as a, very decisive game almost for a lot of people. That Game 3 matchup, it really does a lot of times. I don't know the exact number, but I feel like a lot of people, a lot of teams that have ended up winning Game 3 have gone on to win this series a lot. So this is a big win here for the Rangers, but for the Diamondbacks, obviously it's a must win. You're going to be in Arizona here for the next couple of games, but I wouldn't want to fall down 3-1 in this series. Sure, they fell down 2-0 to the Phillies, but if you fall down 3-1, that to me, that's not great. So moving on here to Game 4, let's go take a look here. And let's go see if Fangraphs have actually updated their ZiPS projections. So taking a look here. They have not updated it. So coming into tonight, they gave the Diamondbacks like the slightest edge, 50.2% to 49.8%. Now, this definitely goes back in the Rangers' favor. That's how it always has been with these ZiPS projections. It's like, I think there's a lot of recency bias with it. Like, it feels like whoever wins the prior game, they tend to give that team the edge. So the Rangers, I definitely think they're going to get a bump here. Now, the question is, who's going to get these starts here for the Rangers and the Diamondbacks? They are listing the bullpen for the Diamondbacks and then Andrew Heaney for Game 4, which, sure, it's Andrew Heaney, but that pretty much means it's going to be a bullpen game at that point. So, again, at least when I pulled this up earlier, nothing had been listed on MLB.com for the probable pitchers. I guess you could go with Heaney for Game 4. I'm curious to see what the Diamondbacks end up doing. Could you just have like an opener from like a Mantiply, something like that? It's going to be interesting. So there's going to be a lot of strategy coming into this one. This is a huge Game 4, right? For either team, obviously. Well, every game is huge in the World Series, but either team here, this is going to be on the managers, right? So I'm looking at, personally, Torey Lovullo against Bruce Bochy in this one. It's who's going to manage this bullpen better, right? Who are going to put the right pitchers in the right spots? So this is going to be massive for both of these managers here. So I think you have to give the edge to Bochy because Bochy has just done so well with managing a bullpen. But the one thing the Diamondbacks have, though, is they have the depth, right? I think the Diamondbacks have more depth in this bullpen. So that could go in their favor as well. This is going to be close. I think this is going to be a good game for Game 4. I'm excited for it. So we'll have to end up seeing what happens there. But overall, great game here tonight. So, and it seems like a lot of you in the chat, you got some energy going. Exton Stone, Rangers might wreck Garcia's body if they play him through the rest of the World Series. Only consolation would be winning the championship. I mean, let's see. Does he? I don't know. I feel like Adolis Garcia is one of those guys that could end up, get a cortisone and just go through it, man. I don't know. I don't know what, who knows? Could he somehow get through it? It's going to be tough. But I'm definitely very curious to see what ends up happening with him. Could it be maybe he ends up missing just like a game or so? But I don't know. It's also like if he does end up playing, is he going to be the best option, right? Depending on how hurt he is. I do think he's probably going to be very sore tomorrow. Like whatever is going on, there's going to be a lot of soreness when he wakes up tomorrow. I think it's very possible he misses Game 4. I would honestly put that at like a 95% chance he's out for Game 4. And maybe, again, it just really depends. It really depends on what it is, what the severity is. So, everyone, want to thank you for coming out tonight. It's always a pleasure. If you can, everyone, please hit that like button for me. The goal for tonight for the stream was 50. So if you can help us get to that point, I will love you forever. And subscribe if you are new, and also hit the bell. That way you know I go live every single time. But everyone, before I do wrap things up for the post game for tonight, do want to go over tonight's sponsor, and that is Underdog Fantasy. And I actually do want to make some picks for tomorrow night. So I think I'm going to start doing this for the next few games. Really, just kind of really get into Underdog. If you're your support really is greatly appreciated. For all of you that have signed up for Underdog Fantasy, that have made a deposit, it really goes such a long way. I can't tell you enough, because Underdog, they have been an awesome supporter of this channel. And hey, the more you support, the more they help us out, and the more that we all grow together at the end of the day. But for tomorrow, I think you have to go with a Corey Seager good game here. Sure, there's going to be some, different looks coming out of the bullpen. But right now, I think Seager's locked in. And honestly, I think Semion's heating up. I'm actually going to go, well, I can't pick Semien, but if you were to go with Semion, I wouldn't blame you, because it feels like maybe that bat is heating up. Adolis Garcia, honestly, I don't know what this is going to look like for tomorrow, but if this ends up staying, I'm not sure what the rules are exactly, but I think you got to go lower at this point if you go with Adolis Garcia. Corbin Carroll, for tonight, the big strike out there with Chapman. Could Carroll maybe have a bounce-back game, for tomorrow? I'm definitely looking at Corbin Carroll, so I could see him. You could definitely go with Ketel Marte, of course. And Tommy Pham, what can you expect out of Tommy Pham? Last in game 3, he ended up doing really well. But for tonight, Pham, also keeping it going, 2 for 4. So I think with Pham, he could end up being a really good pick as well. So I would like to see the Diamondbacks honestly try and claw their way back into this thing. I do think in the end, the depth of their bullpen will come through for them. That, to me, I just think they might be able to outlast a bullpen game compared to the Rangers. The Rangers, if they have a lead going into the late in the game, that's where I think the Rangers are really going to be tough to beat. But if you got a bullpen game where you got to really use those arms, I do give the edge to the Diamondbacks a bit. So, hey, either way, if you go with some good picks here for Carroll, Marte, I wouldn't blame you. I wouldn't blame you either for going Seager, Semien. Semien could be heating up. So we'll have to see how this goes. But everyone, go check out Underdog Fantasy. Again, it would greatly be appreciated if you go at least just check it out. Click on the link in the description. The promo code is HIDE. You get a double on your first deposit up to $100. So if you deposit $5, you get 10, 20 bucks, you get 40. So yeah, go try it out. Go see if you can win yourself a few bucks, but make sure you play responsibly. Everyone, I'm going to wrap this up. I do have a video on the way. I was actually finishing up my video for, I'm going to be posting this probably tomorrow, so definitely be on the lookout for it. I would like to post it around 5 o'clock tomorrow. That would be the goal. But it's pretty much almost finished. It is a video on the worst World Series winners of all time. I put a lot of work into this one. It's about 18 minutes long. It's a top 10 list of the worst World Series winners of all time. It's been pretty fun looking back on some of these teams, these underachieving teams in the regular season that ended up winning it all. Hey, go check it out for tomorrow, and hopefully it should be good to go for tomorrow. I guess I have to put some finishing touches on it, and then we should be good to go. So, everyone, if you can, on the way out, make sure you hit the like button for me. Like goal was 50 for tonight. And everyone, I'll be back here tomorrow night for the post game for Game 4. Have yourself a great night, everyone, and I'll talk to you next time.